The halfway point on the Pro Bowlers Tour as the top 5 finalists of this week's tournament go for the $8,000 first prize. Today on the Pro Bowlers Tour, the $70,000 Cleveland Open from suburban North Olmsted. In match number 1, making his 4th appearance this year, a colorful competitor with 8 PBA titles, Marshall Holman. He'll meet a 4-year PBA member with 1 title, Joe Hutchinson. The winner to meet the number 3 bowler with 1 PBA title, Butch Soper. This match winner to meet the number 2 bowler looking for his first PBA title, Cliff McNeely. And that match winner will bowl for the championship against an 11-year veteran with an all-time record 30 PBA titles, Earl Anthony, today on the Pro Bowlers Tour. All right, these are the Buckeye Lanes in suburban North Olmsted, Ohio. Big crowds have come out every day of the competition to see the world's finest compete for the top 5 spots in our championship. Hello again, I'm Chris Schenkel, and it's really pleasant to be back in the Cleveland area and for the Professional Bowlers Tour. This is our 6th consecutive year. We're reaching the halfway point of the Pro Bowlers Tour today, and in the 7 previous tournaments, we have had 7 different winners. What'll happen today? Well, we'll soon find out in our live coverage. Speaking of winners, here's one. The defending United States Open champion, my colleague, Nelson Burton, Jr.
Hey, thank you, Chris. Okay. You know, you said there's been 7 different winners, but today we have an interesting field. Only one man can be a duplicate winner, and that's the man in number 5 position, making his 4th appearance on our telecast, Marshall Holman, be going against Joe Hutchinson, who's always tough, won his first title in this area. The winner of that match will go against tough little Butch Soper, the winner against Cliff McNeely, the man that throws the big hook, who's a newlywed, and he's hungry to win the title. Of course, the winner of that match has to get a guy ever tough, Earl Anthony, in the number 1 spot.
I think this would be a good week for you to pick a winner for us.
Well, the tournament leader's 0 for 7, so it's hard to pick him, but I think with Earl up there, he's the last man to win from that spot. He won the Firestone Tournament Champions in 1978, and I think he may break the jinx today. Okay, Nelson. So today, and all week they've been battling for a total purse of $70,000. The winner today will get 8. Second is 5, third is 4, $3,500 for 4th, and $3,000 for the 5th position. So stay tuned for our live coverage. Our first match, 24-year-old Marshall Holman against 29-year-old Joe Hutchinson.
The Pro Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Firestone, makers of the 721 steel-belted radial. In 74 years, Firestone has never built a tire in which they've had more confidence. By Light Beer, everything you always wanted in a beer and less. And by House of Windsor Cigars, choice imported and domestic tobaccos, rich aroma, smooth, mellow taste. House of Windsor Cigars, where quality still counts.
Tough Ford Trucks, America's best-selling truck line. Ford Tough. Tough Couriers. And tough pickups. Tough four-wheelers and Broncos. And tough vans. Tough big trucks. Tough Ford Trucks. America's best-selling truck line.
When you shoot a lot of pool and bars, you want to stay fast and loose. And you don't want to get filled up. That's why I drink light beer from Miller. Got a third less calories than their regular beer, and it's less filling. Plus, the taste is great. And even though a lot of people don't think pool is strenuous, let me tell you something. You can work up a real good thirst, even when you're just showing off.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Once again, we look at our 5 finalists, and in that first match, Joe Hutchinson against Marshall Holman. The winner to meet Soper, then on to McNeely, and then our tournament leader is the incomparable Earl Anthony. So here is match number 1. It's going to be Marshall Holman that moves up to the approach now, and he is a man trying for his 2nd victory of the year. We haven't had a double winner as yet, and if there's ever one that could do it, of course, he is one of the favorites along with Earl Anthony. Shot number 1. Wow. What a way to begin a match. Talk about a powerful strike, Nelson.
Chris, the advantage has to be slightly with Holman. He's experienced. He's been on Joe Hutchinson, making his first appearance on the Pro Bowlers Tour, but he's a man to watch out for. He's a tough competitor.
So we have an even match after one frame here at the Buckeye Lanes in North Olmsted, Ohio. Our 8th tournament in a total of 16. We wind up in the state of Ohio with our 16th, the Firestone Tournament of Champions, later on in April. Hoping to double is this 5'9", 150-pound professional. Very calm in picking up a double and stroking to a 10-pin lead against Marshall Holman, who now will shoot.
Chris, both players playing the deep inside line, something for all the fans to watch this week. The lanes are hooking a lot, and the players compensated by moving very far left on the approach.
Ooh, that one did not come up.
We said the lanes are hooking a lot, but you can't throw it too wide. We know Holman throws the big hook ball. He sent it real wide, did not get back. Holman from that low profile gets excellent leverage, but watch, he'll probably pull up at the line a little bit. He's in a good position there, but as he lets go of the ball, see his body raise up in the 4-step? That's what caused the ball to slide out and lose the leverage. Shooting for the washout, 1-2-10.
Beautifully done, and that's why he's one of the greats at even 24 years of age. Already this year has won 29,004.
And the perfect shot. Watch the head pin being driven into the 10. Absolutely perfect. Nailed it right in the middle. Holman trailing by 10, 3rd frame.
Right back in the pocket in the 3rd frame for Holman. 42 the 2nd strike up, and now with the double working and a 10-pin lead is Joe Hutchinson from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Northern Ohio Open winner 2 years ago. His lone PBA title. So the Vietnam veteran has a 3-bagger going.
Chris, he's always been a tough competitor. We've known him on the tour for the last couple of years. Has kind of a unique style, has very strong back muscles. And watch how his shoulders go a little forward. His elbow and hand are crooked at the back. That once gave him a lot of trouble with his tendons, but he seems to have solved that problem. And just a perfect stroke. The deep inside line.
And now Joe Hutchinson has rolled 4 strikes in a row, and our first match live will return.
You know, way back in 1911, the only place Harvey Firestone could take his tires to be really tested was Indianapolis, where a bunch of young fellows were starting to race cars. Well, Harvey took his tires to Indianapolis, and every summer he learned a little bit more about them. In fact, he learned so much that 48 Indianapolis winners rode on Firestone. Today, at Firestone's Proving Ground in Fort Stockton, Texas, there are no cheering crowds, but the object is the same. Learn more about tires. Firestone's 721 steel-belted radio is a result of that kind of learning. It took 5 million miles of testing to develop the 721. The tire Harvey Firestone would have been proud of. Because, you know, he always wanted Firestone products to be the best today and still better tomorrow.
So now the 2 right-handed professionals. We're looking at Marshall Holman. Because of a 4-bagger by Joe Hutchinson here in our very first match. It's a 40-pin lead for Joe, and now shooting in the 4th frame for Holman with a strike up, trying to narrow Hutchinson's lead. 10-pin on the right lane.
The one shot that stopped many of the players, Chris. The 10-pin has been the problem pin this week. You can watch the players, the deep inside line, but watch the 6th pin. Just lay down and just twist right around the 10. One of the reasons is from that deep inside line, the ball sliding quite a bit as it hits the pocket, doesn't have quite as much angle, thereby the 10-pin more often than usual.
Cross lane with a lot of speed. Marshall Holman marks with a spare in the 4th frame on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Let's, as you see the score sheets here at the Buckeye Lanes in North Olmsted, Ohio.
The players that have done the best, Chris, are the players that are not playing the big hook. They're letting the ball kind of slide back into the pocket. Hutchinson is going fairly straight down the lane. Holman's trying to curve it. The left lane is more conducive to Holman because it hooks quite a bit more. Right there.
Okay, now Joe Hutchinson, who has 4 strikes in a row. Here is the 5th frame. So it's a 5-bagger.
You can see the unique style of Joe Hutchinson. Very powerful man, 5'9", 170 pounds, but Chris, he's really strong, and you have to be to carry the ball the way he does. See how he opens his hand, elbow slightly crooked. Now he keeps his shoulders forward, which is not the ideal situation, and then gets a powerful lift. Notice how close his foot comes to that foul line. He's got 5 in a row, left-hand lane.
Leaving the 4-pin. 7 being taken. So the fans here, and they are knowledgeable bowling fans because the Cleveland area, like Detroit and St. Louis, they just a lot of establishment and a lot of people bowl, all degrees of ability. They've been out here watching the pros this week. So it's a spare in the 6th frame, and Holman is up. Could come up with a double. John Vaso Jr. of the Cleveland area, the alternate 22-year-old comer.
Yes, he is, Chris. He enthused the fans out here. Almost made the top 5.
All right, cutting the lead now to 29 pins. Marshall Holman.
Chris will set up the pair again for the folks at home. We're going 21 and 22 here at Buckeye Lanes. The left lane, even though they're playing the deep inside line, hooks about 2 boards more than the right-hand lane. So lane 21 will watch for the players having a little more trouble with the ball going high, the right-hand lane with the ball not quite finishing. And here's a unique camera angle we have today. Something disturbed Marshall, and he's starting back over. That's tough to do, really, that if your concentration or rhythm is off a little bit, it looks like just his rhythm was off. Lost the ball in the swing to stop.
Uses that full approach, Bo, and is both heels off the edge.
It's tough to stop like that, Chris, especially when you're gaining that momentum. That's a smart move he made.
And he put together 3 in a row to cut Hutchinson's lead to 19 pins in our first match live coverage on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
Today, bowling's more fun than ever, especially with AMF Magic Score. You knock 'em down, Magic Score adds 'em up. So this weekend, why not bring a friend bowling? You'll enjoy it even more with AMF Magic Score.
One thing cigar lovers agree on is this: House of Windsor cigars. Even Clem Cadiddlehelper knows they're made from select imported and domestic tobaccos. Sheriff Deadeye likes the choice: Palmer, Sportsman, or the Panatella.
And Freddie the freeloader can tell a House of Windsor cigar is quality and value all rolled into one. And who knows more about value? In pack or box, House of Windsor, where quality still counts.
On ABC's Wide World of Sports, live from Las Vegas, a classic rematch. The champ, Mike Rossman, defends his WBA World Light Heavyweight title against the man he dethroned in September, Victor Galindez. Title fight action next.
And you can see the angle that Marshall Holman's playing, that deep inside line. Notice how he's walking up on the extreme left side of the approach. The normal arrow is the second arrow that we normally play. You see it in there. Now watch the trajectory of Marshall Holman's ball. Down the 20th board, right down the center of the lane. That's to compensate for the tremendous amount of hook they're getting here in Cleveland, Ohio. Perfect done. That ball, in case you wonder, was a strike.
So he has 3 in a row. And Joe Hutchison, who had a 5-bagger before he marked with a spare in the 6th, is now shooting in the 7th, leading by 19.
Hutchison averaged 269 on this pair of lanes, Chris, during his 2 games during a 42-game tournament. So he really likes this pair.
And he leaves a 10-pin on the right lane. The young man that started bowling at 12 shot a 54, and the winner of this match will meet Butch Soper.
One thing you have to watch with the lanes hooking that much is when you go across lane for the 10-pin to use an extreme amount of speed, because you really don't have much more room to move left on the approach. Hutchison all the way to the left side next to the ball return rack will use a lot of speed and kill the ball. Nice shot.
So it's 5 strikes and 2 spares for Hutchinson. And there you see the story, 18-pin lead by Hutchison, and Holman with that 3-bagger working for him.
Hutchinson can't go to sleep here. He started with an early lead of 39 pins, but now Holman's creeping back up on him, and you know Holman is a great strike player.
Little tension release. Unfortunately, the 4, 7, 10.
Chris, Hutchinson has slowed down. The first 3 or 4 frames, he was probably apprehensive, a little nervous, and he was throwing the ball a little harder, making it set in the pocket. That ball was a little less speed and just did not hold the line. It wanted to, but the last 3 feet to take that break and left the 4, 7, 10. Definitely a tough split.
Look at the odds for the professionals, 14-1 to convert this one. So it's an open frame, and now Hutchison's lead has been cut to 4 pins. Holman can take over the lead now as he shoots in the 8th frame. 3 strikes up.
Marshall getting something off the approach. It may have been something that flew off his towel or off his foot, but right now, through the 8th frame, he's up on the right-hand lead, trailing by 4, double working, can take the lead for the first time.
Okay, there's your new leader in our first match. This is live coverage of the Professional Bowlers Tour from the Buckeye Lanes in North Olmsted, Ohio.
In his last appearance on our telecast, Chris, he was a tournament leader at the Rolaids in St. Louis, and Mark Roth bowled a sensational 279, and Marshall had a 227, which wasn't enough, but today he has a lead for the first time. 9th frame.
Pin on the left lane, Holman, who has finished 1st, 2nd, and 3rd this year on our telecast.
That's a great record for the first 8 weeks.
And he could take the money lead should he go all the way today. He is 2nd with $29,450.
The full approach of Marshall Holman, a little extra speed.
So now we have 5 pins separating these 2 pros. And it'll be Hutchison shooting in the 9th frame following an open.
And here's where Joe Hutchinson usually shines. He's been very tough in this clutch all his career. 9th and 10th frame, he's trailing by 5 pins.
High hit leaving the 4.
Just a little high. He's going at a 224 pace. Marshall Holman at a 229 pace. Joe is going to have to throw a double in the 10th and 11th frame to put the pressure back on Holman.
Spare in the 9th for Hutchinson.
Joe Hutchinson trailing by 5, needs a double here to take the lead and force Marshall Holman to double. So it's going to come down, as this tournament in its history has, Chris, come down to the 9th and 10th frame almost every match. We had some very classic matches here, and medium scores, but always down in the clutch 9th and 10th frames. Makes for great match game bowling.
There's a lot of fans here in the Cleveland area, Scranton, Pennsylvania, not that far away. His home.
Comical Joe Hutchinson is always a comic off the lanes, but on the lanes he's a mean, tough competitor, and in this match he can really put it on Holman, can take the lead and force Holman to double. He needs this strike to take the lead, trailing by 5.
What a pressure bowler.
What a great shot, Chris. And you know, we said that Joe Hutchinson won a tournament. He won one here in Cleveland 18 months ago, but never got to bowl in the Firestone. The reason was he had hand surgery, never got to bowl in the Firestone, and since then he's been knocked out, so he still needs to win today to get back into the Firestone. It's an amazing story. He has now put the pressure on Holman, though. Holman's going to need a double.
Closing with 3 in a row with a 234 for the first appearance on the Professional Bowlers Tour of Joe Hutchinson of Scranton.
Holman needs a double and 6 pins to win the match. Holman going at 229 pace. Hutchinson already finished with 234.
There is one. Now he needs the next one coming up.
Chris, and you talk about a clutch player. Marshall Holman's playing a little lower profile than he normally has, but if he throws this strike to win the match, you can see a little reaction here. He needs this strike. Marshall is ever tough when he needs to win. Needs this strike and 6 pins to go on to meet Butch Soper.
All but the 4 on the right lane. A 229. So it's a 5-pin victory for first-time appearance on this telecast. Joe Hutchinson, who now moves ahead with a 234-229 victory. He will meet Butch Soper after this.
It's no secret that quality mechanics rely on quality parts. So when you see this sign in garages and service stations, you know the mechanics who work there care. Care enough about you to rely on Napa parts. Lots of Napa parts are better than your car's original parts. So for parts and service you can depend on, look for this Napa sign and the Napa mechanic. He cares.
Napa. We help keep America moving.
State Farm Agent Ray Bernard.
As I say, the only thing we sell is service. The least thing I can give is to be nice along with that service. And when it gets to where I can't be just as nice to someone when they come in with a problem or with a claim as when they come in to buy insurance, then I better get out of the business or take a few days off.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Our Pacific Northwest, a beautiful place to see, and a beautiful way to see it is in the Diplomat 3 from Courtesy RV Center. Fully redesigned, the Diplomat makes traveling easy. Rugged construction is built in from the sleek all-fiberglass exterior to the steel framework. You'll love the touches of home that abound the coach, with many of the same features found in executive motorhomes. Courtesy RV Center features the elegant yet practical Diplomat and is the only dealer in 5 counties, too. Courtesy RV Center, the leader in recreational vehicles.
Your own key to your own home. The key to family comfort and sound investment for the future. Your own home. It's a worthwhile goal, and Tom Allott Real Estate can help you reach it. We provide professional and personal service to you. If you would like your own key to your own home, visit Tom Allott Real Estate. We can open doors for you.
Television 5M, KOBI 5M Medford.
We hope you saw our first match because it was a thriller. Joe Hutchinson, a first-time starter in our telecast, defeating the great Marshall Holman 234-229. Hutchinson with 8 strikes, opened with 5 in a row, finished with 3, and now he goes against Butch Soper at 5'6", 135 pounds.
Chris, 2 players of almost identical styles. They open that hand on the backswing. They have a slightly bent elbow, and both very tough competitors. Butch Soper, almost unemotional, one of the really likable guys on the tour, going head-to-head against each other for a difference of $1,000.
And Butch Soper, who uses that full approach, like Holman did in his match against the winner, Joe Hutchinson, at whom we're looking. Joe's a little more forward on the approach, shooting on the right lane first. Second match. All
right. As we said, Joe Hutchinson loosened up likes this pair of lanes, bowled 259 and 279 during a 42-game competition this week, and he should shoot some good scores, Chris. He should maintain the pace. He's in excellent physical condition. He's a physical condition buff, and I believe he'll stay out there and really give everybody a tough match.
He defeated Holman, who leaves with $3,000. All right, that big double. Taking that 10-pin lead, and Soper can make it even again with a strike.
Here's the foul line and the slide of Joe Hutchinson. See how close he comes? Within about an inch of the foul line, but look how far left he is. Almost over by the left channel. That's how deep an inside line they're playing. Here's Soper live, working on a strike.
And the Whittier, California bowler has a double, and we're all even. Second match, the winner to meet Cliff McNeely.
Chris, the style's almost the same between the two players, about the same amount of hook, almost the same line between the 18th, 19th, 20th board, right down the center. The reason they play there is the outside part of the lane's a little spotty. You can see where Soper's staying. Now, he'll actually drift to your right on the television screen, actually the left if you were bowling. Look at that, way down the center.
3 in a row.
And as I said, Chris, it's because the outside line or around the second arrow is just not playable this week, and you can see the angle the players are playing. Deep inside, that just shows the versatility of these top pros. This ball will be right over the 4th arrow, the 20th board on the lane. That's right down the center. Perfect. And that ball was a strike. Hutchinson, a double working.
Answering strike by Hutchinson, each with 3 in a row. And today's professional bowlers tip of the week with Nelson Burton will be on zone bowling.
And Chris, you get the chance to see when to use that type of zone that they're using. We call it the deep inside zone. Both players are using it today. So it often works real well when the lanes are hooking a lot. That part of the lane doesn't have as much wear.
So they battle with strikes here. Hutchinson with 4 in a row, and a 10-pin lead as we take a break for this message, and then we'll be back in Ohio.
You know, for too long now, bowlers have been left out of light beer commercials, and football players have been grabbing all the glory. But bowlers know light beer from Miller tastes great. We know light's got a third less calories than the regular beer. We know light's less filling. Bowlers love light just as much as football players. That's right. And we also love the easy opening can. You sure do.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
You're seeing some real tough truck pounding. At Ford's Arizona Proving Ground, we've been testing body and suspension components over a tough durability course for more than 20 years. Truck jarring bumps, mud baths, salt baths, frame twists, uphill poundings. And Ford pickups with twin I-beam suspension are built tough to take it. In fact, Ford test trucks got over 1 million test miles last year. Tough Fords, America's best-selling pickups.
Tomorrow on the Superstars, the women's finals, Susie Chaffee, marathon swimmer Diana Nyad, basketball great Carol Blazowski, golfers Jane Blaylock, Carol Mann, and more compete to become the superwoman of the Superstars tomorrow.
This 6'3" Californian, Cliff McNeely, will meet the winner of our second match here in the Cleveland Open at the Buckeye Lanes. Butch Soper from Whittier, California, has 3 in a row working for him, shooting in the 4th, going against Joe Hutchison, our first game winner, 234 to 229, eliminating Marshall Holman.
4th frame, right-hand lane. Both players are perfect so far.
High hit, leaving the 6-10 on the right lane for Soper.
Got a good break. Soper got to the line a little quickly, and he just pulled that ball. Now he's short, and look at all the approach he takes. Butch is only 5'6", and he needs that full approach to get the momentum and the speed on the ball. He's in excellent position right here. But notice how he turns a little bit sideways at the line right after he lets go of that. That is not ideal, but he gets away with it.
And he was a little concerned about covering the 6'10". He marked with a spare, and will be shooting in the 5th frame as we pause 5 seconds so our local stations may identify themselves. here at the Buckeye Lanes. This is Soper, spare working. And back in the pocket. So he'll get a rest while Hutchinson comes up with 4 in a row. He had 8 strikes in the first game, defeating Marshall Holman. Nice mark, 5-bagger for Hutchinson.
Comical Joe Hutchinson. Here's the style of his. Now watch how he cocks that ball in a funny angle at the back of his swing with his shoulder open. But watch how he brings it down close to his left foot, right in tight, the deep inside line. You can see the ball going just to the right of the 4th arrow. You know, what a great break he's going to get from that deep inside angle. A little love tap on the 10-pin. 5 in a row.
His string was ended at 5 in the first game. The same is true here, leaving the 4, 7, 9. And he takes it philosophically. Well,
Chris, in the first game, he let up on his speed and the ball hooked too much. That time, he just, what we call, cranked it up. He had the adrenaline flowing and just hit that ball too much and made it break so sharply at the back end, leaving the 4, 7, 9. A little bit easier than the 4, 7, 10, but by no means a gimme.
all right, so it's 145 through the 6th for Hutchison. Soper now with a strike, working in the 5th, shooting in the 6th frame, 2nd game. So the lead has been taken over by 3 pins, but Soper because of a double.
Soper using the full approach. All the way back there, 17 foot. 5-foot approach. And watch how he slides slightly sideways, but it's after the ball leaves. If that foot had started turning sideways before the ball left, the shot would have been errant. You could never have any consistency, leverage, or control. Soper taking a little extra time can really put the pressure on Hutchinson here. 6 through 6 frames, he has a 3-pin lead, double working. Once again, remember, the left-hand lane hooks a little more than the right. That's the lane that most of the players have seemed to have been missed so far.
Ten-pin on that left lane.
And from that camera angle at the back, you can see how consistent these pros are at hitting their spot. Almost every ball has gone in the exact same zone out there 17 feet where the arrows are in that 15 to 17-foot zone from the foul line, which is 1979 average. That's for all the tournaments he's competed in so far this year. 8 tournaments, 213.2. Not bad.
So our second match is another close one. 2 pins separating these 2 pros. More after this.
When you need to rent a truck for company business or yourself, call Hertz and rent the exact truck you need at a price that can save you money. Hertz has been adding even more new trucks, and that means more reliable trucks, from Econoline vans up to giant tractors. You name it, Hertz rents it. And if you're moving, do it yourself with the easy-to-drive Hertz truck and save. So when you need a Ford or other reliable truck, make Hertz your #1 call. There's a location near you.
Here, right back in there.
Gordon Hall has a headache.
Will you try extra strength Tylenol?
Okay.
Compare regular aspirin, the leading extra ingredient pain reliever, and extra strength Tylenol. Extra strength Tylenol has more medicine.
The headache is entirely gone.
What pain reliever would you choose the next time you have a headache?
I would go out and I would buy extra strength Tylenol.
Extra strength Tylenol. They're aspirin free, and you can't buy a more potent pain reliever without a prescription.
I'm ready to go.
On ABC's Wide World of Sports, live from Las Vegas, a classic rematch. The champ, Mike Rossman, defends his WBA World Light Heavyweight title against the man he dethroned in September, Victor Galindez. Title fight action next.
Take a look at the money leaders through our first 7 tournaments on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Mark Roth, who did not compete here in North Olmsted this week, still the leader. Earl Anthony has a chance to move up a notch He is our tournament leader, waiting in the wings to meet the winner of the next match. Right now, Joe Hutchison, bowling in the 7th frame, trailing by 2. This follows an open frame. And coming right back, the man that bowled a lot at Paramus Lanes in New Jersey.
And as you see, 2 pins, this match seesawing back and forth. And once again, this house has a history, this pair of lanes, of producing scores in the 220, 230, 240 range, Chris, but always close matches. Nobody pulls away much in this house. And we can expect this match again go right down to the 9th and 10th frames.
Just like he did in the first match, coming up with a big strike, getting a double and taking an 8-pin lead. So Soper is up, shooting in the 8th, spare working. Winner of this game, our second, and our live coverage will meet Cliff McNeely. A 4.
Butch looking down at the lanes, as everybody knows, as you bowl on lanes, they begin to hook a little bit more, and Butch thought he threw that ball solid in the pocket and left a 4-pin. Now, the pro, being as meticulous they are about the lanes, they'll probably move over just a half a board. People don't realize that it makes that much difference, but if you want to continue to get those strings, you have to play the lanes just right.
It's interesting to hear what the bowling goals are of the various professionals. Butch Soper says his goal is to stay on the tour. His opponent, Joe Hutchison's goal is to be better than Dick Weber. That's a goal.
And that is quite a goal. Soper trailing by 3, trailing by 9, up in the 9th frame.
Soper there with that big strike in the 9th frame.
Joe Hutchinson always bowls good in Cleveland, and I asked him why, Chris. Here's what he had to say.
All right. We'll hear it later. Get our problem solved.
9th frame, he can take the lead by 19. Double working.
What a pressure competitor. Finishing with 3 in the first match to defeat Marshall Holman, 234 to 229.
Situation is this: Hutchinson with another strike in the 10th and 11th frame can shut out Butch Soper. In fact, with the strike here in the 10th, he'll be going at a 250 pace, would shut out Soper. One more strike. If Hutchinson doesn't strike, Soper can still win the match.
He has just strung 4 after opening with 5 and then an open.
And he just put the knockout blow on Butch Soper. Little Butch Soper has bowled a sensational game. He can still have a possible 246. Hutchinson's going to be in a 250 to 260 range. He's just looking to the left to see the scoreboard. Possible 265 for Joe Hutchinson.
5 in a row.
And he gets a little break. Watch the 2-pin on this ball. Going to the sideboard, gets in between the 4 and the 7, and does its work. Boy, that's the bowler's friend.
Finishing with a 265 to go with his 234 of the first victory. And he moves up against Cliff McNeely. 11 strikes, get it, in the second match. 11.
Chris, that one shot was just a little high. Here's Butch Soper finishing up. He has a possible 226. Great game, but not enough.
So Butch is going to get $3,500, and for our winner, Joe Hutchinson, he has a chance one more step toward the $8,000 first prize, and he's happy. Cliff McNeely will be his next opponent after this.
I'm up every morning waiting for my roll-on antiperspirant to dry. Look, roll-ons go on wet. Later, they still stick to your shirt. So I got on the stick. Men and Speed Stick. Speed Stick is solid deodorant, an even effective layer of deodorant protection that goes on dry. So dry that Speed Stick never sticks to your shirt. So don't get held up. Get on the stick. Men in speed stick.
Owens Corning built this glass house so you can see all the places insulation can save money, new home or old. Your attic. In severe climates, you may need insulating power up to R38, a foot of pink Owens Corning fiberglass. Another place to insulate. Floors over unheated garages or crawl spaces, and walls exposed to cold or heat.
Put your house in the pink. Get Owens Corning fiberglass insulation now. It's cheaper than oil.
Can the 19 3/4 cent Bic shaver shave as well as the Track 2? We went to the Cheeks of America to check it out.
No difference. I can't tell the difference. To me, there's absolutely no difference.
In our test, 58% found the Bic shave equal to or better than the Track 2 shave. Yet 4 Bic shavers are an incredible 79 cents. Why spend more when there's
No difference.
What about the price?
Big difference.
Look at those scores. A shot by Joe Hutchinson in his first appearance on the Professional Bowlers Tour. 234 in the first for a win over Holman. Now 265, 19 strikes in 2 games. Now he goes against tall Cliff McNeely from California. Let's look how other folks finished in the Cleveland Open.
Boise Huber, his daddy Charlie will be proud of him. Palmer Falgren, our statistician, will be 28 tomorrow. He celebrated his birthday with 1900. Ever tough Johnny Petraglia will be in his area in about 2 months. Ed Ressler Jr. and Gil Sliker, 2 good friends, finishing 10th and 11th. Louis Moore just couldn't carry the 10-pin all week. And Alvin Liu, bowling well, another California player. Keith Krakoff was steady all week. Daddy owns a bowling lane there in West Virginia. Frank Ellenberg, the Masters champion. Good-looking Warren Nelson, the personality of the tour. And veteran Carmen Salvino in 17th. Bob Thies in 18th. Bill Spigner, who just snuck in the tournament because one of the other players dropped out. Pete McCordick, who was great last year, is getting it back together. Frank Zitnik, a local player on the PBA Tour. Good-looking Steve Neff, who's daddy Charlie will be proud of him. And Tita Semez, who from River Edge, and Ted Karbownik roll out the top 24.
Now here's our third or semifinal match. Big, tall Cliff McNeely on the right against winner of 2, Joe Hutchinson. He'll be shooting first. Here are 2 players. Cliff's first appearance this year on our Professional Bowlers Tour. This is the first appearance ever for this 2-game winner already, Hutchison. Leaving a 10-pin on the left lane.
The first really bad break Joe has had. He's been in the pocket almost every shot, but he looks loose and relaxed out there, Chris. He really threw that ball with a lot of confidence, a solid 10.
And it's difficult to come from the first match and go all the way, especially today when the tournament leader happens to be Earl Anthony, who will meet the winner of this match. All right. Spare for Hutchison. Now, our first chance today, seeing Cliff McNeely compete. He's 26 from San Lorenzo, California.
Notice how deep he stands. He throws the biggest hook of all 5 of the players today and uses all of the approach on the left side.
Beautiful. Neely with a solid strike on the right lane. Look at his profile here, Bo.
Well, you can see how far he's standing left. He has a real deliberate push away. Great extension to get that ball started. Watch how he locks that elbow and moves that right foot. 4-step delivery, and how low Cliff gets at the line. He's 6'3", and he gets down really low where it counts. Left foot almost sliding in the left channel. Look at how far left he played. The good concentration in this man.
Very nice opening double for Cliff McNeely, who finished second in the overall tournament, now against Joe Hutchison. If you just joined us, let me give you the scores. Hutchison defeating Marshall Holman 234 to 229. Then just completed with 11 strikes. Hutchison defeated Butch Soper 265 to 223. Spare up shooting in the second frame, third game. Back in the pocket.
Chris, I asked Joe Hutchison why he bowls so well in the Cleveland area, and here's what he had to say.
Well, I bowl good in this house and in the Cleveland area because it's the characteristics of the lanes is similar to the characteristics that I learned how to bowl on. The lanes back home 12, 13 years ago, they hooked, and you just got up and you threw the ball to the right. There were no, like there never was a lot of oil on the lanes at that time, like they, like they're putting on now. There wasn't the sophistication in the machines, like to put the oil where you want it. And you bowled at that time, and rubber balls, hard balls, plastic balls, throwing the ball right hard. And I come in to the Cleveland area, and it just seems that the lanes are like that. So, it just takes me back to when I was a kid.
And Chris, what he said, a lot of that is automation. They didn't have the lane machines, and and guys have a tendency to play the way they learned when they were younger. And these two players are doing an excellent job. That's the same thing that Cliff told me why he scored so well here. Loves the shot.
Ooh, all but the 7.
You're going to see a little different pin action with Cliff McNeely because he throws the big hook. He can afford to send it wide from that deep inside line and still drive the 5-pin out. He carried it in the second frame. He ripped the 5 right out. There, he ripped the 5, did not catch the 7. And here's Cliff, 4-step delivery, tall man. How deliberate he is with that very first foot. But that's to make sure of his timing step and a good, solid approach. He hits the line so nice. Look at that right foot, left foot almost in the channel.
So the stylist with a very close mark, a spare in the 3rd frame. Another close game, as you see. This is the semifinal. The winner to meet, Earl Anthony, the only left-hander in our field of 5 today here in the Cleveland Open.
Cliff said he feels a little more confident today than other times he's been on our telecast. He says he's experienced, he's a little more mature, he's 26 years old. And he says for the first time, he's playing his favorite shot. He likes to play deep inside and let that ball hook.
All right, McNeely, 3 strikes and 4 frames, leading by 1 pin in the semifinal match, which will continue after this.
What do you think of the Midas foreign car muffler guarantee?
It's a great day for my Datsun.
A triumph for my Triumph.
A victory for my Volvo.
From now on, you can Midas-size your foreign car and get the same famous guarantee we give American cars. It says if anything ever goes wrong, Midas will replace the muffler free as long as you own your car. Foreign car owners, now more than ever, it pays to Midas-size.
Whoop-de-doo for my Subaru!
Ross Billings of Dutch Master Cigars is in charge of curing the world's most expensive to-grow wrapper tobacco. Instruments in the dark curing sheds can tell him a lot. But only his master's nose can tell the moment great tobacco says it is ready to be a Dutch Master cigar.
That's beautiful.
Now you know why a Dutch Masters like our president taste so good. They really are masters at Dutch Masters.
Tomorrow on the Superstars, the women's finals. Susie Chaffee, marathon swimmer Diana Nyad, basketball great Carol Blazejowski, golfers Jane Blaylock, Carol Mann, and more compete to become the superwoman of the Superstars tomorrow.
Full house at the Buckeye Lanes. They've come out in droves this week to watch the world's greatest bowlers, and now we've come down to the semifinal match. Reaching for his bowling ball, 16-pounder is Joe Hutchison, who has a strike up now, shooting in the 4th frame with a 1-pin lead. He's won his first 2 games with a 234 and a 265. Was hoping for a double, and look what he got. Looking, 4-7-10.
The 4-7-10, Chris, he eased up a little bit on the right-hand lane. As we said, the lanes are starting to hook a little bit more. Hutchinson, 4-7-10. Difficult shot, cross lane. Even a little more difficult than the 4-7-9.
All right, with huge odds. Oh, yes. 17-to-1 odds are beaten for the professionals. 4-17 conversion, and listen to the fans. That's an awfully beautiful thing to see.
As you can see, cross
Here's
lane,
a replay. It's something.
Slides a 4-pin over into the 10.
Just look at that perfect positioning of that ball. And then comes back after a split conversion with a strike, as we now go to Nelson and Earl Anthony.
Earl, the tournament leader, 0 for 7. You've been there once this year. You lost. You won the last time at Firestone. Any special strategy to change that jinx of the tournament leader?
I don't think there is a strategy in that position, Bo. You go out and you try to knock down as many pins as you can. That's all you can do. You know, you go out there, you feel like you're at a disadvantage because you feel like you've already won the tournament. I think that's probably part of the reason the leader gets beat so many times. You have kind of a negative thought in your mind when you go out there like you're trying to protect something. I'm going to try to be a little more aggressive than I have been in the past, see if I can't get a few more strikes out of the gate and put a little pressure on whoever I'm bowling.
How about the condition of the lane? Do you think that affects the tournament leader?
I think it does. I think it changes. You know, we don't bowl for an hour after the show starts, and I think they change drastically in that period of time. That's why I think the guy that wins the match before the championship has about a 30-pin edge going into the championship match.
Well, Earl Anthony says 30 pins. Maybe he can pick that up today. Back to you, Chris.
Earl Anthony, the great communicator. And while they were talking, you saw McNeely hit that strike in the fifth. He has a double up, a 12-pin lead, shooting in the sixth frame, a frontal view. Here's his attack. Oh, and 3 in a row. Getting a good break on that sixth frame shot, taking a 22-pin lead and putting the pressure on Hutchison, who has accepted it before. As you see watch the sweep.
Chris, as you can see, every ball is going a little higher. The lanes are what the players say, breaking down a little bit, hooking a little bit more. That's what Earl Anthony was talking about in that interview, adjusting to that hooking lane.
Needs a double. He gets it. So that brings his deficit back to 12, and he'll be shooting in the seventh frame with the double up. I wonder so many people watch the professional bowlers tour,
Chris,
Bo, because it's constant excitement.
Well, they're close match games. These players have great ability and the ability to adjust. Hutchinson has moved a little further left on the lane with his feet, a little further left towards the center with his target, and a little more speed.
We're live in the suburban Cleveland area, and Hutchison with a 3-bagger now has cut that lead back to 2 pins. McNeely, the leader, big and tall, 26 years old. Getting up now to shoot. He has a 3-bagger working for him, and he'll be shooting in the 7th frame.
Chris, you know, Cliff's always had kind of a complacent attitude on the tour, but I think since he's been married, he's had a little different attitude, and I asked him about it. Here's what he had to say.
Well, I've got a child on the way now, Bo. My wife is at home rooting for me, and I think it's made me a little more responsible. I've matured a little, and in the process, I think I've gotten hungrier. I need the money more now, and instead of bowling just for myself, I'm bowling for the 3 of us, so I hope that'll carry me through.
All right, Cliff McNeely now. 4 in a row, shooting in the 8th frame of our semifinal game. 10-pin on the left lane.
The 10-pin, but Cliff McNeely has done a good job so far. He's leading by 11. The one thing you have to watch is watch for his left foot.
So McNeely, who finished 16th here at these lanes last year, finished 2nd and is now in the match against Hutchison.
Watch the approach of Cliff McNeely, especially where that left foot slides between actually lanes 20 and 21. Look at that. Right foot kicking all the way over to the other lane.
And a 4-bagger for Hutchison. Remember, in his first 2 games, he had a total of 19 strikes, 11 in his victory over Soper, 265 to 223.
There's a great lesson to be learned from watching these players, Chris. And my daddy always told me, he says, you know, there's always a good spot on every lane to throw the ball in the pocket. These players, being the pros they are, have adjusted, found that spot around the 20th board, and are maximizing their strike power.
Nelson's dad, of course, great Hall of Famer. Five in a row. The ability to string strikes here at the Buckeye Lanes for Joe Hutchinson, the Vietnam veteran, has 177 through the 7th. What a match.
Cliff McNeely bowling so well so far, is trailing by 9. Cliff has a possible 258. Hutchinson a possible 267. Ninth frame, Cliff trailing by 9 pins. The scoreboard tells the story.
Man who loves this pair with a 269 average coming into our final competition today, Hutchison. Now McNeely. Stays right there.
Both players just bowling so well. It's almost impossible to have a winner or loser. Almost every shot's been perfect. McNeely's trailing by 9. It's hard to say who's going to win, but once again, we're to the crucial 10th frame. McNeely needs this strike to take the lead. Taking a little extra time. He has bowled so well. Perfect balls almost every shot for the first 9 frames. But here's the one that counts the most, the 10th.
Is up to it. 1-pin lead.
Cliff said he never got any breaks on national television. There he let set the ball a little short, let it hook a little high, and tripped out to 4-7. Now he has the lead. We have a great possibility of a tie also. McNeely, if he gets this strike, will force Joe Hutchinson to get 2 strikes also in the 10th to win. Great clutch performance and the power of Cliff McNeely. That ball was so shallow in the pocket, and he still carried out the 10-pin. McNeely can have a 258. Will force Hutchinson once again to strike in the 10th and 11th frames.
The ability to be a tough finisher, like in boxing, Bo.
That's
you can
it.
be a finisher, you can win.
There's nobody to call timeout, no coach to tell you what to do. You have to do it on your own.
What a study. A booming 258 for Cliff McNeely.
And what a tremendous performance. He bowled so well. 12 balls, just as good as you can throw them. 258, but he still does not have the match whacked up.
After 5 in a row, leaving the 10-pin for Joe Hutchison. Oh. Well, the fans appreciate his performance here.
The best Hutchinson can do is 246. Cliff McNeely has the match locked up. He'll go on to meet Earl Anthony.
And McNeely did it with a booming 258. And Earl Anthony is the opponent. We'll have the final score for Hutchison following this message.
Can tell by their style and flair.
Now.
You can tell by the way they're getting there.
Now.
The future is now.
With styling that says now. With high mileage ratings for now to take you lots of places on a little gas.
The future is now.
I'm not waiting for someday. I'm doing it now. 79 Ford Futura, even at sticker prices now.
For days, you fought the mountain for a 90-ton slab of granite. And now you hold your breath while you bring it out until it swings free and clear. Now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best-tasting beer you can find, Miller High Life.
When it's time to relax, one beer stands clear, Miller Beer.
On 2020, Why Howard Hughes Died, an investigative report by Geraldo Rivera, Tuesday.
Oregon has so much to offer, and you can enjoy all of Oregon this year in a Terry travel trailer from Lee's. Since 1945, Terry has carried on a tradition of quality from one generation to another. When you own a Terry, you own a trailer that combines experience, tradition, luxury, and craftsmanship. And with Terry, craftsmanship makes all of the difference. So come in today and see the 1979 Terry travel trailers at Lee's in Grants Pass.
The Osmonds travel to London for a royal charity performance at Prince Albert Hall on the Osmond Family Show, Sunday at 6, right here on Television 5M.
KOBI rebroadcasts its signal on these translators so that more people can enjoy our programming on KOBI Television 5M in Medford, Oregon.
Now a chance for you visually to check those consistently high bowling scores on the Professional Bowlers Tour. The applause has just subsided for the loser of the semifinal match, Joe Hutchison, who has averaged in 3 games 248, but he lost in the semifinal match to Cliff McNeely from California, 258 to 246. And you often ask the question, how do they do it? Well, each week on the Professional Bowlers Tour, we have a pro tip of the week with Nelson Burton Jr. His subject today is zone bowling. Red, white, and blue marks out on the lanes by the target, the arrows. Perhaps it will help your game and you can approach some of the scores you've seen today. Here's Bo.
Today's Pro Bowlers Tip of the Week is brought to you by Rolaids.
My tip today will help everyone increase his strike power. For your strike ball, the lane can be divided into 3 sections. One will fit the amount of hook that you naturally play. The red zone between the first and second arrows is the one recommended for the straight ball player. From this area, he can get the angle to the pocket necessary to strike consistently and avoid pocket splits. The white zone between the second and third arrows is ideal for the medium hook player. This allows him to play the high friction track area and still have pocket control. The blue zone, located between the third and fourth arrows, is for the wide hook player because it keeps the ball from hooking too soon, but still allows for power and control. Regardless of your style, there's a zone on the lane for you to throw strikes.
How does America spell relief?
In Oregon, for acid indigestion, we spell relief R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids spells relief. In this test with Rolaids active ingredient, laboratory acid changes color to prove Rolaids consumes 47 times its weight in excess stomach acid. How does America spell relief?
In Nashville, for gas or heartburn, we spell it R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
All over America, Rolaids spells relief.
Frank Gifford once again in our New York studio, and we'll be back with the championship game from the Cleveland Open. It'll be Earl Anthony and Cliff McNeely. At the outset of today, we told you that all the problems surrounding the officiating of the fight scheduled for this afternoon, Victor Galindez and Mike Rossman, had all been resolved. Well, apparently that is not the case. Howard Cosell is in Las Vegas, and let's go there live right now. And if anyone can give you the answer, it's the coach. Howard?
The story here is that there may not be a Rossman-Galindez fight. Let me bring you up to date. I've talked often about the jurisdictional jungle that envelops all of boxing and the chaos that ensues. Well, the WBA wants for this fight international neutral officials from jurisdictions that don't involve either fighter. The Nevada State Athletic Commission wants Nevada officials officiating at this fight. The 2 jurisdictional bodies are thus at an impasse. To add to the problem, Victor Galindez is afraid to fight under these conditions, feeling that should he win, the World Boxing Association would not recognize him as champion. ABC is helpless because, contrary to some things you may have read in the press from time to time, we are not in the boxing promotion business. The promoter of this fight is Top Rank Incorporated. I will keep you up to date, or bring you up to date, when I return live from Vegas at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. So this is Howard Cosell, turning it back now to Christopher Schenkel.
Okay, and I could tell you one thing. He'd be the best arbitrator they could get to settle a situation. Our friend, the legal man, Howard Cosell. Now we're in the championship match. It's about to begin. On the left, that is Earl Anthony, tremendous champion, 30 PBA titles, against Cliff McNeely, who hopes to get his first here today. Well, they had a powerful match with 10 strikes, 258 to 246 in ousting Joe Hutchison, who had won the first 2 games.
And Earl Anthony, the tournament leader, is making Cliff McNeely start first. Earl wants to finish on the left-hand lane. The deep inside line, Cliff McNeely.
Leaving a 10-pin on the left lane.
And believe it or not, Cliff McNeely is almost into what we call the 5th arrow. There's 7 arrows on the lanes starting from the right-hand channel, Chris. He almost hit the 5th arrow to compensate for that big hook. Unbelievable. I've never seen the players play this deep in the last 7 or 8 years. Just a great tribute to how versatile these great pros are. Earl Anthony also will be playing a deep inside line for a left end. Or the spare.
All right, spare for McNeely, and now today in competition, the great champion Earl Anthony, looking really fit. Shooting on the right lane first. This left-hander. Look how he carefully positions himself on the approach.
He seems unusually calm today, Chris. He says he's going to be aggressive, but he looks awful confident. Really, really confident.
Methodically into the pocket from the left side, and it's a strike. Let's see the profile of that last action.
And here's the style of one of the greatest bowlers that ever stepped on a lane. Earl Anthony, 5-step delivery, medium backswing, solid shoulders, hand right behind the ball. Nice and smooth. He's playing further inside than I've ever seen Earl playing. He's playing almost between the 3rd and 4th arrows himself. Look at, he's staying over where you normally see the right-hander staying.
Mm-hmm. So it's a big double for Earl Anthony. And you know, Bo, there's a golfer that is a great athlete that I'm sure when he sees Earl bowl reminds him of himself, and that's Julius Boros.
You can bet you.
Mr. Cools.
Earl is smooth just like Julius. Cliff McNeely, not eligible for the Firestone. Earl Anthony, the last tournament winner, the leader to win, was at the Firestone last year. So a lot of things riding on this match. Cliff McNeely has a new baby coming pretty soon. I know he'd like to win this one.
Spare working, second frame. Oh.
And you talk about power from that deep inside line. The ability to drive the pins out that hard is a great tribute to Cliff McNeely, although he paid the price for it there, chopping the 5 straight back off the 8. Tremendous power. And for the first time this year, the tournament leader has a definite edge in the first couple of frames, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we see him struggling as we go into the first commercial, but this time Cliff McNeely is going to have a deficit, and Anthony will have the lead.
Now the 8-pin. All right, 2 spares for McNeely, who won the last game 258 to 246 over Joe Hutchison. Thus far, Bo, we've averaged 242.5 in our matches, both bowlers in each game.
That's tremendous for 6 games. We did not expect that type of scoring today. The tournament itself was not a high-scoring tournament. It only took a 212 average to make the top 24. And there were only 6 300s.
Extremely high hit, leaving the 6-pin on the left lane.
Just lost that shot on the left side of the lane. Almost got a break. On this lane, the first frame he left a solid 10, and then he left a solid 8 in his second frame, and almost got a great break, tripping the 6 out, but it all works out. So far, he's going to have 3 spares, and could have had 2 strikes in a split, would have been worse. Earl Anthony has the lead the first time.
All right, and Earl Anthony is always anxious to get up on the approach and bowl.
Chris, he's so calm. I know Earl so many years. He's just so methodical today. Some days you just have days where you feel like you're super confident. I think Earl wants to prove that he can win from all angles, too. You very seldom see a left-hander play down the middle. Left-handers are a bit chastised because they have that outside line, but Earl can do it all.
Oh, high hit, and oh my goodness, we've got the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 10.
The 4, 7, 9, 10 for the righty, the 6, 7, 8. What is it, Palmer? 6, 7, 8, 10 for the lefties. We don't see that very often.
Awful. 11 to 2 for the professionals.
Well, I think it's a little less for this man. He's studying, looking like a putt almost. You notice how he's looking down the lane. Earl's confident in everything he does.
All right, after a double, an open frame for Earl Anthony in our championship game. 8,000 to the winner, 5 to the loser in the Cleveland Open.
Chris, you see a hit like that more often when players are inside because they want to put a little extra turn or a little extra crank on the ball to drive the pins out from that inside line, and they hook it too much. Earl now, unusual score, 2 strikes and open, 50 in the third. He's trailing by 8. Had the hammer in his hand, that frame, and just opened it wide up for Cliff McNeely.
Another high hit, leaving the 6-10.
I'd say disadvantaged tournament leader, 1, they haven't won. Number 2 is Cliff McNeely is used to this line. He's playing his favorite line. He's a power player playing the big hook. He's down the center. Earl Anthony, probably the greatest player that's been on the tour in the last 15 years, is really not that familiar with that deep inside line.
So the 3-time player of the year is marked with a spare. We'll be back for more of the championship match.
In 1906, Harvey Firestone built the first mechanically mounted pneumatic tires for his friend Henry Ford. You know, Harvey sold a lot of tires because Henry sold a lot of cars. And then in 1908, Harvey came up with the first non-skid tread pattern. You knew it was non-skid because it said so right on the tread. Harvey had a lot of good ideas. He was the first one to put rubber tires on a tractor, ever. You see, Harvey Firestone was never satisfied. He was always looking for a better way. And today, Firestone engineers are still looking for ways to make better tires. And that's led to the finest steel-belted radio Firestone has ever built, the 721. It's a product Harvey Firestone would have been proud of. Because, you know, he always said he wanted Firestone products to be the best today and still better tomorrow.
Next Saturday, the Pro Bowlers Tour moves on to sunny Miami for the $100,000 Firestone 721 Classic. The finest professional bowlers battle it out, 3:30 Eastern and Pacific, 2:30 Central.
And this tells you where our next telecast will originate. Next week, Miami, Florida, Firestone 721, Fairlanes Open in Adelphi, Maryland, to be followed by the King Louis Open in Overland Park, Kansas, and then the Miller High Life Open in Milwaukee. The next 4 weeks, this is our 8th stop in a tour of 16 cities. Live from North Olmsted, Ohio, we're looking at Cliff McNeely, who had a big game against Joe Hutchison in the semifinal, 258 to 246. Now he's marked with 3 spares, shooting in the 4th frame, bowling against Earl Anthony. First strike for McNeely after 10 in the last game. That coming in the 4th frame.
Here's a big shot for Cliff to get ahead of Earl, get a good chance. He's never won. He's never been in that position before. The highest finish Cliff has ever had is the 2nd on a tour. I think he's one of the great young players that really hasn't won out here. He's been out here a long time. He's always been consistently good, but never cracked through that winner's circle. Right now, he has an 8-pin lead with a chance to extend it to 18.
The 1974 Rookie of the Year from San Lorenzo, California.
You know what, Chris? You'll never throw a ball any better than that. That man just had perfect timing and confident lift, and he has put it on the tournament leader again.
Right.
Once again, the crowd is getting behind Earl. Watch Cliff McNeely, though. I mean, you want to see some power. And watch how he extends through this shot. A low arm swing, extends his whole body through that shot. Look at the concentration. And he knew it when he let go of it. That was, watch these pins. See you later.
5th frame. So we open with a double, then an open frame, a spare, and now a strike for Earl Anthony, who has been 2nd once and 3rd twice in his 3 appearances on our telecast this year.
And now you can see the trajectory of Earl Anthony's ball. Normally we see him out by the 1st arrow over there on the left side, but watch Earl on extreme right side of the approach, normally where the righties play, and he'll be throwing somewhere between that 3rd and 4th arrow from the left channel. It'll be the right channel on your screen. Deep inside.
Coming up with a big double. 8 pins separating a non-winner, and a 30-time winner. McNeely a double working, shooting in the 6th frame.
Cliff McNeely received a reprieve from Earl Anthony in the 3rd frame, but I don't think he can expect any more in this game. If he wants to win his first PBA title, he's going to have to take it himself.
A 10-pin.
A solid 10. You could see the sharp break of McNeely, and he has just not had the breaks this game. Solid 10 the first frame, solid 8, got a 6-pin, then a good double, and now another solid 10. 6-pin just going right around it. This match, as all our other matches, Chris, right down near the end, they seem to tighten up one way or another.
Money earned today: Marshall Holman $3,000, Butch Soper $3,500, Joe Hutchison $4,000. Six-frame spare for Cliff McNeely.
Something Cliff McNeely is doing much better today than I've ever seen him do on our telecast is get the ball out over the foul line. Cliff, under the pressure, seems to want to roll the ball a little soon, and the ball always wanders high with him. With that extra little loft he's had today, he's been able to hold and control his hook and stayed around the pocket all day.
And Bo, he's been on our televised finals 6 times.
Over the years, a steady player, Chris.
.127 through the 6th with a strike up. 7-pin lead by McNeely over Earl Anthony, who has a double, as we look at the commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Association, Joe Antonora from Akron.
Earl taking a little extra time. This is the lane he made the mistake on. Left the 6, 7, 8, 10. And he can now take the lead. He trails by 7.
And leaving the 4, 6.
And once again, Earl Anthony is paying the maximum penalty for an errant shot. He let the ball hook a little too much. He's a little bit disgusted. Leaves a 4, 6, opens the door wide open. As you recall, last week in Detroit, Chris, Earl Anthony got 2 splits on the left-hand lane and cost him the match. And he is really kicking with himself. Right now, Earl Anthony has let Cliff McNeely take a 21-pin lead, sitting on the bench.
From 7 to 21 pins. And, of course, Cliff McNeely looking for his first win, and as a result of a victory, a berth in the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Now, Anthony, shooting in this 8th frame.
Has to settle down. Usually after one mistake, they usually come together.
Like that. And up is McNeely. Strike working. He'll be shooting in the 8th.
And he really has a chance to put it on Earl Anthony. As we see, Earl is having trouble putting the strings together. Cliff McNeely coming up on in the 8th frame on his best lane, the right-hand lane. He's been consistent on that lane all day. Can take a 31-pin lead with just 2 frames remaining.
A double. Big one. Leading by 31 pins here in that final match.
And as you can pick it out, it's like Tommy Hudson did last week. The tremendous power of this young player is taking over. Here's a hit that hardly anybody else could carry on a light from that deep inside angle. Watch the 5-pin. See you later, and look at that arm. He is really happy now. He can almost lock it up with a strike here. He will force Earl Anthony to strike out to have any chance if McNeely can get another strike here.
6 feet 3 inches tall, 170 pounds. Two, 4, 5.
A little wide, but it's better than hitting the nose. In that situation before, Cliff McNeely has always had a little trouble. Here's the ball, just slides by. A little slick out in that area when you throw it a little wide. They're pointing down the center. The 2, 4, 5, a spare we haven't seen today, and Cliff McNeely's going to have to guess a little bit how to make it.
McNeely is sparing the ninth. Now Anthony with a strike in the 8th, shooting in the 9th frame.
Chris, if Earl Anthony wants to win this tournament, he has to, well, we know he wants to, if he needs this hit. He cannot win if he does not strike here in the 9th frame. He needs to strike in the 9th or 10th and 10th frame to have any chance. Earl currently going at a 186 pace. If he spares strikes, he has a possible 216. He's still in it.
Third double of the match, opened with a pair. Then in the 5th and 6th frames, and now here.
The situation is this. By no means can Earl Anthony shut out McNeely, but he can cut the lead. Earl has a possible 216. And here's Earl Anthony's reaction. Not the usual complacent attitude that he has. He's out there to win. He needs this strike.
And the Jack Nicklaus of bowling leaves the 6th pin.
And Chris, once again, all we have to, as the tournament leader, is going to go 0 for 8. All McNeely has to do is get up there and keep the ball in play. He knows he's got victory in his hand. He has to stay behind the foul line, barring any radical thing. We have another new winner on the tour. Earl Anthony, best he can roll is 195. Cliff McNeely just has to show up. $8,000 and another new champion. Earl just going through the paces. I know he's disappointed. He bowled so well all week. 195. Cliff McNeely, just stay in the building, partner, and I'll see you at the Firestone.
So Cliff McNeely, 26-year-old from San Lorenzo, California, has reached one goal in his life, to win a tournament. Will have his final score as Anthony has already completed his play, shooting a 195, so $8,000 richer will be Cliff McNeely.
How long do you want your car to last?
Forever. Now, don't laugh. She's already gone over 90,000 miles and without a major engine repair. I try to take good care of her. I give her regular checkups, and the only motor oil I ever use is Quaker State.
Quaker State can't promise everyone mileage like Mr. Miles gets, but Quaker State helps cars last, and that's a fact.
Guess that's why Quaker State's the best-selling motor oil in America.
You are about to see 3 strikes made the hard way with a different kind of bowling ball, the AMF Impact KE21. So much pin-punishing power. It's almost unfair.
Frank Gifford in our New York studio. We'll be going back with Chris and Cliff McNeely in a moment. First of all, in hockey today, the Islanders have climbed to within 2 points of the Montreal Canadiens for the NHL lead, beating Detroit 3-1. As we mentioned earlier, Mike Bossy scored a pair of goals, extending his streak to 10 games in which he's put the puck in the net at least once. The Islanders now with 86 points. College basketball, the University of Houston has won the opening basketball game of the Southwest Conference Championship Tournament. They beat SMU 74-67. Kenny Williams, high man for Houston, 25 points. 15th ranked Temple scored 10 straight points late in the game to take the lead and then hang on for a 66-63 win over Dayton in the Palestra. Temple finished its regular season at 22-3, while Dayton is 18-8 with 1 game remaining. Elsewhere, college basketball, Louisville, ranked 13th, defeated Tulane 95-71 in a Metro 7 contest. Larry Williams was high man for Louisville with 20 points. And in tennis, U.S. Open champion Jimmy Connors remained undefeated today, defeating Italy's Adriano Panatta 4-6, 6-5, 6-2 in the World Championship round-robin competition. If Jimmy wins tomorrow, he could bank $100,000. Not a bad business. In the other semifinal match, Vitas Gerulaitis defeated Peter Fleming 6-1, 6-3, and thus he will meet Connors for the $100,000. Okay, let's go back out now. Chris Schenkel.
Okay, there's the final score. Lowest score of all of our matches here today, but what a sweet victory for Cliff McNeely, shooting a 212 to the great Earl Anthony's 195. So here in North Olmsted, a big winner welcome, Cliff McNeely. Cliff, what does it feel like, first-time winner? You'd probably like to express it to our viewers and also to your wife, Sandy.
Well, I'm on cloud 9 right now. I might not come down for a couple weeks, but it's great to bowl in Cleveland. I always have a good time here. People at Buckeye Lanes are real nice, and I wish we could bowl in Cleveland every week, really.
Well, of course, now you can, you have earned the right to bowl again in Ohio this year at the Firestone Tournament of Champions in Akron. That's your next goal.
Right, that's been a dream for a long time, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy myself.
What are your plans for the rest of the tour? Will you be going to Miami for our next tournament?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there, and then I'm going to take a couple weeks off to go home and see my wife, Sandy, and then I'll be back in 2 weeks.
All right, we have an All-American, a Football Hall of Famer, a friend of mine, Creighton Miller, who is going to give you a unique trophy, and you have the check, too?
Yes, I do, Chris, and thank you. Congratulations, Cliff. This is your first victory. When you beat the best, it makes you the best, too. And this is our trophy to you, along with our check for $8,000. Congratulations for a very exciting match.
Great, and I know Cliff is thrilled to have a Notre Dame All-American give you that trophy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. I would like to say one thing. Earl bowled great all week. He led the tournament by like 400 pins. I was lucky enough to beat him in a one-game roll-off. He deserves a big round of applause also.
Many more successes. Cliff McNeely. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, the winner of the $70,000 Cleveland Open is Cliff McNeely, 212 to 195. Our next stop on the Pro Bowlers Tour is the $100,000 Firestone 721 Classic a week from today at 3:30 Eastern and Pacific at 2:30 Central. The executive producer of ABC Sports is Rune Arledge. Senior producer of the Pro Bowlers Tour is Chuck Howard. Today's coverage was produced by Dick Buffetin, directed by Jim Jeanette, technical director Bob Bernthal, associate director Larry Cavallina. Now this is Chris Schenkel, along with Nelson Burton Jr., saying so long from North Olmsted, Ohio, and inviting you to stay tuned for ABC's Wide World of Sports coming up next, featuring the WBA World Light Heavyweight Championship, Mike Rossman, Victor Galindez live from Las Vegas, and we hope the dispute over the officials has been settled. You'll find that out very soon. The fight, if it goes off, will not be seen in the Las Vegas area. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United built the largest airline in the free world around you.